Hey everybody, it's Sonjdradeluxe, and today I'm doing this fall makeup look monochromatic color scheme, so basically using all the same colors throughout. I'll be using the Bite Beauty multi-sticks on my eyes, lips, and cheeks, and we'll be doing some foundation and bronzer and contour, eyebrows, everything you need to set you up for fall. So stay tuned if you want to see how to get the look. So first, I'm going to be using my Gleam by Melanie Mills Body Radiance in Rose Gold. As I've mentioned in other videos, it blurs the skin and just makes it nice and smooth and hydrated and gives a nice radiance. Next, I'm going to go in with the PUR Cosmetics Air Perfection Foundation. I was just trying to blend it on with the sponge, but I wanted a little bit more coverage, so I went in with a brush to apply the foundation and then going over top to blend it out with a beauty blender. Next, with the PUR Cosmetics Hydrate and Set Spray, I'm going to dampen my beauty blender sponge and then little dabs all over the face just to give it a nice kind of natural look. Then I'm going to use my MAC Studio Finish Concealer in NW25, and I'm going to highlight under my eyes as well as conceal any dark circles, which was pretty well covered up by the foundation, but I just wanted a little bit of a highlight under there, you know. Next, with the Hydra Fluid Foundation by PUR Cosmetics, I was totally freestyling, like you probably don't need to use two foundations, but I am doing that. But I use this, I did a wedding. This foundation is really beautiful and has a very natural finish, so I wanted to throw that in the mix somehow, and I'm using the color Dark, and I'm going to go in with my beauty blender and blend the areas that are highlighted first, and then I'll go in and blend in the darker areas. I'm doing the lighter areas first just so it doesn't get all muddy and blend in with the darker bits. Honestly, I probably would have blended the darker part first. I found that it dried and it started to set. It sets really nicely, but I think I left it a little long, so it was a little harder to blend, so I would blend that guy first. Next, with the Makeup Addiction Cosmetics Holy Glow Powder, I'm going to highlight the highest points of my face using that kind of medium gold color. And with my Dipdown Fluidline by MAC, this is a brown gel eyeliner actually. I like it because it's a little bit more creamy, but this foundation is a little bit more creamy than my Pro Longwear, what I usually use, so I found it was slipping a bit when I was trying to do my eyebrows, so just keep that in mind when trying products. Maybe your foundation needs to be set first, so you need to put a little powder over top. But anyways, just basically drawing a line along the bottom row of hair, flicking it upwards into the hair, and then extending the tail so I don't have these stubby little eyebrows anymore. I like my brows a little straighter too, but this angle they just look extra like Spock. But anyways, I'm going to go in with the Laura Geller Baked Foundation just to set under my eyes and kind of in my laugh line so that it's not too creamy. Like I said, this is a very creamy foundation, more so than what I'm used to, so that's why I would set it. And I'm going to take the Laura Geller Baked Hydrating Beach Bronzer in Sunset something. I'm gonna write that in the description box. Anyways, I like this because it's a cooler tone color to snatch the nose, and I'm just pushing up against the bridge of my nose. And with my Dark Deep Mineralized Skin Finish by MAC, I'm going to use a big fluffy brush and I'm going to push right into the hollows of my cheeks, building up the color, dragging it along my chin and underneath my jawline. But basically when you push in, it kind of sinks in, and that's where you want to contour. I'm also blending it on my cheeks a little bit. So with the multi-stick by Bite Beauty in Almond, I'm going to do a few little dabs on my apples of my cheeks, not bringing it up too high so I don't have red so close underneath my eye, but I'm just letting it blend into my bronzer. I always have a hard time using creams because they get kind of sticky and they stick to the hair on my face and they on the eczema on my face and they get kind of blotchy, but these dry kind of like a powder. I was surprised at how easily they blended on the face, so I'm just rosying up the apples of my cheeks. And I'm going to go in with the color Honeywheat, and I'm going to go into my crease. So basically just filling in where my crease is, just going right above, making sure I'm not getting the eyelid, pushing right into that crease, and then giving it a little finger blend. As I said, these blend really well and they dry kind of like a powder, but it gives this kind of like see-through wash of color on the eyes, so I really like that. You can always build it up to have a little bit more, but I don't want it to get creasy before it sets, so I'm just using a very sheer amount and blending that right into the crease. If you want to build it up a little bit more, which I did, I just tapped a little extra in the crease to give a bit more dimension so it's not so flat, but I wanted it just a little darker right in the crease and letting it blend up towards my brow bone. I'm going to swipe a little bit on the lower lash line as my transition color, and I'm going to go back in with our cheek color, Almond, and I'm going to rosy up my lower lash line. I didn't want it to be too red, so I did that transition shade first, and I'm just kind of building it up as I go, making it as rosy as I want, making sure I'm blending in between so that it doesn't get chunky or creasy. Again, when you want to add more color, you can just dab on a little bit, and I'm just adding a touch to the outer half of my eyelid, kind of keeping it on the upper part of my crease, I guess. And I'm going to use the Honeywheat, which is what we used in the crease, in the center of my lips and giving it a nice blend. And then I'm going in with the Almond. These are pretty creamy, so I would use a little bit. I kind of went a little overboard with the amount that I put on, I think, because I was using 2 colors and it, you know, looks really overdrawn, but that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Next, I'm going to use my PUR Cosmetics Fully Charged Mascara, and I'm just going to do a coat on the top to make sure every hair is black. I'm going to be putting on lashes. These are the iSlay by Makeuptutorial and Flutter Lashes. I like to put the glue on the lashes and let them set while I do the bottom lashes so they have a chance to kind of dry before I put them on. If you put it on when it's too wet, it just slips around. That was the House of Lashes glue, but I'm wiggling back and forth using the tip of my mascara to get really long, dramatic bottom lashes. Then I'm just going to drop down my false lashes right in the center and just wiggling it down as close as I can to my lash line, right on top of my eyelashes basically, but not really gluing it to the hair, more the skin, and just wiggling it down as close as I can. The glue does dry clear, unless you put on too much, then it has a little bit of a white look. I'm going to blend my lashes and the false lashes together using a bit of my mascara just to kind of, you know, make them match the bottom. And that's our look. So thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to share, subscribe, and follow, and love yourself and stay pretty. And I'll see you guys again in the next video. Let me know what fall looks you want to see, because I'm down to do them. Take care.